The following is an encore presentation of New Expressions.
New Expressions, Friday morning, 10 a.m., and the world is beautiful. Isn't it? Isn't it beautiful?
It's amazing.
Beautiful. Oh, my goodness.
The New South Wales Central Coast, which is utterly spectacular. And we're here with coffee. Did you notice that you have coffee?
Thank you very much for my coffee. You bring me a coffee every week, and I love you for that. Thank you very much. It's a kind offer. Coffee and a big bear hug. Appreciate that. Starts my weekend off well, by the way. Yes, I get home, my wife goes, you're so warm.
Have you already started your weekend?
I did too. I do. I love
Praise
Fridays.
Jesus.
I love Fridays. I love Mondays.
That's why you call it Friday.
Friday. And it's Monday.
You put the yay in Friday.
Monday. No, I love Monday. You start your week off well, set it up well for the end of the weekend. I know we have this segment at the end of the week, so I always look forward to it.
Me too.
And I just enjoy myself. I do.
Okay. Just for the matter of public record, I quite like you.
Thank you.
Yep. And I keep coming back.
I appreciate that. I'm surprised they still let me in the building.
They're surprised they let me in the building. I mean, you do have swipe cards and stuff, and I forgot my swipe card today, so I had a bit of a problem getting in the building. But here we are. New Expressions.
Swipe card or not,
we're
I'd
together.
have no problem getting in here. None. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I look across and I see a familiar face. Haven't seen him in a few years. You know, I know he travels. I thought maybe he pitched camp in Darwin or someplace. I don't know. But welcome back.
Rod Dibley.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Good to be back. Good to be back. It has been 2 years.
Yes, it has.
And you promised I could come back again very soon, and it didn't happen.
And then it was like
Not my fault.
2 years.
2 years.
Well, you know, you did pull a stunt. There's people going, Rod Dibley. You know, I remember that from 2 years ago. Yeah, well, that's because this weekend is the Salvo's Red Shield appeal, and the Salvation Army, you know, across the country are banging on people's doors or setting up in shopping centres or whatever and looking to fleece people of their money.
In the nicest possible way.
In the nicest possible way, in love, and so that we can do some incredible work in communities all around the country. But Rod, you are the PR consultant to the Salvos in your role with us, and not just for the Central Coast though. You are across a huge region with the Salvos. What's your region?
I am. I'm having a really good time. I look after the Central Coast up towards Northern Rivers, so Ballina, Byron Bay region. And then across west to places like Narrabri, Moree, etc. So quite extreme distances,
right?
Different sort of communities.
Yeah.
It's so good.
We had a team of people up in Moree a couple of months ago, and that's like the best part of a 7-hour drive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe more.
So when you say region, you just need to say the eastern part of Australia.
Yeah,
that's
East
it. The
Coast. Up
east
to
coast
Brizzy,
of Australia.
basically.
It's all me.
Yeah. But
Wow.
It's a
huge.
privilege to be able to go to all those different areas and
Yeah.
to meet different Salvation Army officers and the managers of different programs. And they're doing amazing things in their community. So it's a privilege for me to be a part of that and help them be able to do more work in their communities.
Yes. And also, have a look at your business card. I'm sure on the back of it, he's got flyby stamped on there. Because you would clock up. I remember last time you were here, and we were talking about a typical journey, and I was like, I could not drive that distance. 2 hours, and I want to pull over and book into an Airbnb. I'm sorry. I'm not that way. Camping, I'm not. Sorry, 2 hours, I'm done.
Really?
I'm done. Someone else drives, or else I'm pulling over somewhere and we're staying the night camping. I can't do it. But you, my friend, road warrior.
Yeah. But I think you can use your time wisely. You can listen to positive podcasts and Christian podcasts. You can make phone calls and take care of business while you're driving.
Yeah, or you can pull over and have breakfast. Use your time wisely.
Yeah. You can.
Must be coffee time again. And
yeah.
again. And again.
Yes.
Must be nearly time for another coffee.
But you cover some miles, and I mean, the first time you were on here, I was surprised to hear that there was one individual that did that went that far. Why? I mean, I would think an organization like the Salvos, you'd have district areas, which you do, but then one guy that handles district areas, which you do. I thought you'd have one guy per district that would handle that event every time it rolls around. I would think that would just be it, but no.
Well, the Salvos do whatever they can to run as lean as they can, so that people who do donate know that it's going more to the cause than it is to admin costs and so on. So
Lean.
the only thing is, for me, that it makes me very tired. But they thank me a lot, and that's enough for me to keep going.
Yes.
Listen, I'm in some of those rooms that Rod leads, and he is so loved on the Central Coast. I know that, but beyond the Central Coast, mate, you're just a champion and deeply loved by the Salvos in terms of, your influence within community and so on. We celebrate you heaps. You're a great gift to the movement. So we got it's game on this weekend, isn't it?
It certainly is, and this is actually the 60th year of the Red Shield Appeal.
Actually, before we get into that, because it's been 2 years,
Okay.
explain
Your absence?
what your role is. Because there'd be a lot of new people who wouldn't have caught that. What's your entire? I mean, give your entire. Give an overview of your role.
So I'm Public Relations
Yes.
Community Engagement Manager. So public relations is a very broad role, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And it's a lot of face-to-face, and it's dealing with media. One of my big strengths is that when I look at the Salvation Army, they're so good at caring for people in need, and they're so busy at doing that. And I think they're the best at that.
Yes.
They are so good at
Yes,
that.
I'll give you that. Yes.
Where I can come in is that I can link them with influential business people in their communities, and influential people then can open up new doors.
Yes.
They can help them run their programs better. They can help them do business better. They can connect them wherever connections need to be made. And if people outside are helping us, we are so much better off.
Yes.
So I'm spending a lot of time finding out who the most influential people are in the regions and having great success in getting people who don't even go to church, who see the work of the Salvation Army and think, you know what, I could help you. And how good is it that there's people who do not go to church who actually become a part of our family? They will probably never go to the Salvation Army church, but they become a part of us.
Yes.
And we love them, we appreciate them, and we'll see where that relationship goes.
And see, the thing that gets me about that, when you say that and you speak to most PR people, they have a base and most things happen out of that. But the difference with you is you travel and you meet face to face and you go to those different communities and you actually are on the road doing more than what your average PR person would do. I mean, most of that happens, Zoom, Skype, phone call, email. That happens, but you have that extra component where you're on the road a lot, and that's what I remembered you from that, because I'm like I've never really heard of that unless you were a startup and you really need to hit the road and get things going.
Yeah, right.
The Salvos are far from a startup, but yet you still do that. And now, one, I can see that might be in the job description, but two, you gotta have a passion for that. And a big glove box and a whole bunch of gummy bears, man. Seriously. I mean, that's what struck me about you.
It helps that you're a people person.
Yes. Well, a PR person, you better be. Yes.
That's kind of helpful.
You better be.
Absolutely. And I think people, especially in the country areas, they don't trust you unless they know you.
Yeah.
You can't just come in and leave and never come back again.
The relationship is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my job is to nurture relationships, connect them with the local salvos, resource everyone, and just make sure that's moving along well and smoothly, because all different sort of personalities bring different complexities. But it's an absolute privilege just to be able to connect all these people together in these different regions.
But it's the anointing also. I firmly believe that everybody has a gift and a purpose. We all have something to achieve here, and our journey is our own journey. But see, Craig's a people person. He could be a good PR person. But yet, you're the guy on the road. I mean, could Craig do that? I don't know. I don't know. But you don't lose the excitement about it. You don't lose the zeal. But when you talk about it, I can see things come alive, which tells me you truly love it. But that's a long time in between places and on the road. I mean, what do you do?
What do I do?
From 2 hours to 2 hours, from 3 hours. What do you do in that car?
In that car, listen to podcasts that feed me spiritually, that anything can give me energy, anything positive. I listen to some music every now and then. Obviously, Rima.
With the app, obviously, it's wherever you go. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean,
That was a given.
Absolutely.
yes, you didn't even
Phone
mention that.
calls?
People know that.
But I also think the time alone in the car, if the phone is not on or not ringing, it's often a time when you can sort a couple of things out either personally or either professionally. You sort some problems out just while you're sitting there taking in the views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah.
Most of us keep so busy that there's no space at all.
Yes.
That little bit there gives me some space in my life where you can sort things out.
There you go. Because
Nice.
I asked that question because half the crowd will be out there thinking, that's just boring. I couldn't do that. I mean, what do you do? I'd be bored. But yet you, because that's what you're called to do, God jumps in that space. And okay, now we're back in the car. Let's problem solve. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about things. Let's make a couple phone calls. The time is not boring to you. It is. I mean, it is of use, but it's not just that. It's part of you. It's part of the gift you've been given. So that's the one thing that really you left with me when you left here. Because not just because I couldn't do that long drive. It's just, what do you do during a long drive? I mean, count license plates. I spy, but you don't want in the car. There's only so much music you can listen to, and I love music. I mean,
Count the roadkill.
Yes, exactly. But yet here you are, still in your role, being fulfilled because you're being used by God, and it's not a waste of time for you, and it energizes you as well. Where most people get to the end of a road trip, I'm looking for the hotel room and the bathroom. It's just.
I just think it's a privilege to serve.
Yeah,
and
man.
if I just look at everything I do is I'm serving others. So I'm helping the local salvos in different regions. I'm there to serve them. I also think when I go to people who do not go to the Salvation Army, we want their influence, we want their help.
Yeah.
But it's actually an opportunity for them to serve. And we know that people do life better when they think of others, not themselves. And so we're giving them an opportunity to do life better. They will feel good in themselves. It's good for them personally. It's good for their business, and it's good for the community. It's good for the Salvation Army.
Amen.
Yeah, I love that.
Hey,
I
man, I
love
tip
that.
your hat off to you. I do. I appreciate people like you that get in and do those things that most people are like, oh, I'm not so sure that's so long. I mean, I wouldn't apply for that job. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't.
Well,
man.
you got a knack. You got the skill set. You got the
he's got
professional
it.
skill set, but
And
you
he's
also
there.
have the heart.
Yeah.
And just gifts from the Spirit that help with all of that.
Amen. And God maneuvered you in that spot for sure. He knew you were the guy for that,
I
So-
feel like I'm in my lane. I think this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, you can tell.
And just
Yeah,
so you
you
know,
can
like
tell.
Yeah,
we
you
have
can tell.
meetings. Some meetings are every week, some are every month or whatever with these people, or these committees that we form. And we pray at the beginning. We pray at the end. They know we love them. They know we care for them. And so when the need comes or when it arises, I'm sure they'll come to us when they have problems or when they have questions about life. We'll be more than happy to guide them towards why we do what we do.
Yeah. And see, I don't need a report or summaries or feedback from other people to tell that you're effective in what you do. I don't need that. I can see it. It's there.
That's
You
right.
want to go. And that's the importance of having the right person in the right role. I mean, I need a good playlist, box of cookies, big tall drink, and an Airbnb
NBA.
in 120 minutes from now. I would need it. But I can tell right now that when you get out there, you are effective in the field because you just glow with it.
Thanks, Evan.
And I love when you meet people like that. Craig's another one. I can tell he actually excels in what he does. I can tell that he actually probably is a thorn in some people's side too, because I'm like him. I want to drive, I want to push, and I know that it irks some people, but yet I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know it's what he's supposed to be doing. So, but it just oozes off you. And we had James Condon,
That's right.
last week, oozes off him.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with James. He's very good to me.
Great
He's
guy.
He's
he
a
is.
legend, isn't he?
Yes,
he is.
He was featuring our One Church Central Coast Pray event that we had all of last
Yes.
weekend. You guys were doing live crosses. How good is that?
I work here. I didn't know we were doing it until the day before.
Surprise!
I was
Surprise,
I was
Evan.
busy doing other things. I was just doing my role. I was in my lane. I didn't need to know.
So, Rod,
Yes.
you're with the Coast Community guys, and that was one of the host sites from last weekend, Coast Community. Pastor Rainier was kind of making the Tumby site available there. I mean, we had host sites at Wyong Anglican, we had host sites at Terrigal Uniting Church, host sites at C3 and also at Liberty. Brilliant time. But I love the fact that the tradition you're in at the moment is the Church of Christ. We call it Coast Community Church, but serving your heart out here with the salvos and just helping our ministry do well. That's a beautiful gift in itself, and I love how that works.
Yeah.
But listen, Eben, you noticed that he wasn't here last year.
Yes.
He wagged.
Oh no, I just figured he camped out in Darwin. I've done my row. I'm going to stay here for a week or two, recharge the batteries, then roar back down.
We had a super sub. I don't know if you remember, but Major Gary Masters.
Yes.
He jumped in for us because Rod was wagging for the significant period of his employment. Huge story.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting story, life changing. There was 1 week where I was tired, and 2 days of that week I went home at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and all I wanted to do was go straight to bed, straight in that door, straight to bed.
Okay.
Got to Friday afternoon, same thing, felt really tired again. And I thought, you know what, I haven't been to the gym this week, I've been very busy, I should go to the gym. It'll wake me up, then I'll get back into my work. I thought, I'm not going to go hard, but I'll go just to move.
Yeah.
And I went, and about 5 or 10 minutes into it, I was doing some kettlebell swings, and all of a sudden, pain in my chest. And I thought, I haven't warmed up enough here. I've pulled a muscle or something. This doesn't feel good. Next thing I'm doing push-ups, and I'm like, oh, just feeling rough today.
right in the middle of your chest, just to the left.
Feeling rough.
Yeah.
And it progressed to get worse very quick. Started feeling sick. Just the cold, let's say sweats, and you want to vomit. And I never vomit. And I really felt like just something wrong here.
Yeah.
Goes on for probably 10 minutes. And a lady comes over to me and she goes, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. She goes, I've seen this look before. You need to go to hospital.
What?
Yeah. And I said, oh, no, it's okay. She goes, no. She said, we need an ambulance. And I said, it's okay, I'll drive myself, She goes, no, we're getting an ambulance. I said, no, it's okay. I just wanted to disappear. Just no one see me, just go drive.
Yeah.
So she was really angry with me.
Oh, wow.
And she drove me to hospital.
Wow.
The fortunate thing was I was in Gosford, so just around the corner from the hospital.
Yeah,
and
right.
I get there, I was in agony by the time I was there. Agony.
Wow.
Once I get there, they did an ECG on me, and the lady's face was like, oh, this isn't good. She said, stay there.
What?
And you're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And it was, alarms go off, people come in, they wheel me off to another room, and I get there, and there's a room full of people who are ready for business. And they're like, you're in the best place, we do this every day, this is really good, this is where you need to be right now. And I'm like, I don't want to be here. They said, but this is good that you're here. And they don't really tell you what's going on. They didn't.
They don't want you to panic.
Oh. So basically, the guy at the end of the bed, they're putting things under my tongue and pricking me with things and give me painkillers and all types of things. And they said, in 15 minutes, we're going to be upstairs, we're going to operate on you. And I'm just trying to figure out, how bad is this? What's going on here? I'm like, right. So I made some calls to some loved ones because I could sense this was bad. And they were saying, this is big, this is not a joke, this is very serious. I'm like, okay. And I remember sitting there going, do I sort of bargain with God? Part of me, the childish part of me was like, do I bargain with God here? Because, like, this is a 50-50. I might not make it through.
What?
I don't know this.
Wow.
Yeah. And I thought, no, you know what? If God is who he says he is, I'm forgiven, and we'll just step into this, and he's got this under control. And I remember going on the bed, going into theatre, I'm thinking, well, God, it's up to you, and it's up to these people. I just got to relax with that. So I closed my eyes. They said you're going to be sedated, not put under. So I was sedated, so you know what's going on, but I closed my eyes.
What are they're operating in your chest?
Yeah, sedated.
So it's a cardiac problem.
Absolutely.
And they're cutting your chest open?
No. They
No?
go through your wrist now. They went through my wrist.
Okay, right.
They went through my wrist and
Yeah.
around up your arm and then to your heart.
Whoa.
And so I closed my eyes, just left it to guide these people.
Yeah.
The next thing I remember is a pain, a force through my head like I've never experienced.
Oh, yes.
And I've never known it existed, really.
Yeah.
And I felt my body go off the bed really quick. I remember seeing the lights in the ceiling. I remember looking to the right. And then I remember my body come back on the bed like thump. And then my eyes open. My eyes are open, sorry. And the lady's next to me, she's holding your arm. She's like, you're okay. Your heart failed, but we got you back.
What?
Yeah, and you're sitting there going, what's just happened here? Yeah, so it's pretty heavy. And the guy at the end of the bed is literally saying, well done, team, well done, everyone. really good
They're
job.
having a cheer moment.
And I'm there going,
What
they're like-
just happened?
He's like, mate, it's okay. You did really well. You're okay now. You're okay. So for me, that experience was interesting because
so they operated
put a
on your
stent in.
heart,
Put a stent in.
and they lost you,
Had a cardiac arrest. Yeah.
and they got you back, and everyone's going, it's all okay.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. And these people do this every day. That's what got me.
Yeah.
Because when I think of the salvos,
Yeah.
so I go see the hospital when I was in need, in the worst state of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful there were a team there who were there to help me. They saved my
right,
life.
right,
Absolutely no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We forget, or a lot of us forget, that the Salvation Army are there every day.
Yeah.
And there are people who are turning up in the worst state of their life.
Yeah, right. Right.
And the Salvation Army are trained, they're ready to go,
yeah.
and they want to help you in whatever situation you're in right
Yeah,
now.
wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And then if you look at the fact that not only did the hospital help me right there and then and save me,
Yeah.
they then looked after me for the months afterwards to make sure I was heading in the right direction, health-wise.
Yeah.
If you look at the Salvation Army, same thing. Help you with the emergency, right here and now, but then we come alongside you leading into the future to make sure that you're getting out of whatever situation that you're in.
There you go. There, you're having this kind of revelation on the back of what was, well, you said a life-changing experience. I reckon it would have been.
It was like a new beginning for me.
Come on.
Like a new beginning, isn't it? A new. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like a second chance here.
Yeah, wow.
And I think that same thing happens with the salvos.
Well, come on. Well, we believe in the God of the second chance and the third chance and the 55th chance and the 255th chance and so on and so on, don't we?
Absolutely.
It's a new beginning.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. How about that? Did you know that was coming?
No, not at all. That's not
That's
what.
nuts,
no,
isn't it? That's
no.
why Rod wasn't here last year.
No,
Is that
I
like-
had no.
I should have bought you a doctor's certificate or something.
Well, I had no idea. I mean, I'm
Wow.
thinking, okay, he's got pain in his chest. Okay, it could be heart, but okay,
Yeah.
maybe, or maybe something else. Anxiety, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I didn't expect that.
Me neither. I didn't expect it at the time either.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
honestly, the guy at the end of the bed. Don't worry, we do this all the time.
Yeah,
That's like the
wow.
guy at the end of the bed saying, "We're gonna have a really good jump today." What? I'm not jumping on anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, look, let's cut to a song and let's all just digest that and let's come back and let's pick it up from there, bro. Wow. If you haven't got your tickets for Unsung Hero, go to the website, book them. There's still tickets left, and that song is from that soundtrack. Looks to be a brilliant movie. So.
You need to put a warning, when you're playing music like that. Like, warning, you're going to go trip down memory lane. And we were back there in the 80s all of a sudden, weren't we?
Beautiful
Like
time. I
W.
know.
Smith that first time round. And
Just warms your heart, man.
How
Hear
about
Just-
that?
Oh, man. Awesome.
My. Wow, I just am there right now. Like, that was beautiful. Music does that, doesn't it?
It does.
And
So-
then the King and Country guys are smashing that out in a remix and bring the old guy
Blaze
back
in a
in.
trail.
I love it.
Amen. Amen. Okay.
So, that was crazy, that last segment, wasn't it?
I don't think
Rod
anyone saw that
Dibley,
coming.
You legend.
Oh, my goodness.
Rocket Rod, as we like to call you in the Red Shield Appeal. Flying the flag for the Salvos and doing that PR role that you do all across the east coast of Australia,
Yes.
basically. From, Tasmania to Cairns. Well, it feels like that, I'm sure. No, you're at Central Coast and kind of almost up to the border, really,
Yes,
aren't you? Yeah, it's a
absolutely.
big space that you got. Thanks for holding our hand on the Salvos here on the Central Coast in terms of what we're doing with the Red Shield Appeal. Before we went to the break, you explained why you didn't be around with us last year, and that was a pretty darn good reason, I'm going to say.
Valid excuse.
Yes,
Valid
yeah.
excuse.
Sorry, my heart stopped
Yeah.
and I was in surgery. Well,
Yeah.
okay, that'll do it.
I have a lot to be thankful
Yeah.
for.
No
The
hall
fact-
pass needed.
If you look at that situation, I didn't feel like going to the gym. I could have gone home and had a sleep or taken some painkillers, and that
yeah.
would have been a lot further away from hospital. I would have been on my own.
Wow.
I went to the gym, and that lady who helped me,
Yeah.
I knew she was always a lovely lady.
Yeah.
I just saw her as a mum. That's all I
Yeah.
saw her as, lovely lady. Turns out she's a nurse.
Aha.
there you
I didn't
go.
know.
Yeah.
Hence, I've seen that look before.
Yes.
See, a lot to be thankful for.
Yep.
And so close to the hospital.
And you know what? She's in your, hearing your retell of the story. She's like really insistent. Rod, you got to go to hospital, right? No, you're not driving yourself. Like we put ourselves in your shoes and we go, I've got a bit of pain. I'll just get myself to. Like I'm not feeling well. I'll be all right. That's the first thing. No, I'll be right. It'll pass. And then well, if I need to go to hospital, I'll drive myself there and actually I'll probably dissuade myself from doing that. I'll probably take another turn and end up at home because who wants to sit in an emergency department for a bunch of hours?
Yes.
She may have sworn as well at me.
Yes.
She was pretty emphatic.
She was she was.
Yes. She
Wow.
took control. Rod, get in the car.
So we have a special bond now. Like I'm so thankful to her for what she did.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's as
for sure.
a reminder for us always to look out for each other and care for each other.
Yeah.
And be thankful that we've got good connections around us who help us in times of life when things aren't going as well as we'd hope.
Yeah.
Really.
And that's a reality for a heap of us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Questions.
Yes.
You know, there's just questions.
Okay.
Because you're not 90, and you look fit as a fiddle.
Oh, and you're at the gym. You obviously work
you
out.
work
You're
out.
obviously fit
You work
bloke.
out.
Yeah.
And and I know people when they tend to point at heart attacks, they think lifestyle factors. Yes, no, the combination of both ends. And do you exercise? Or do you eat too much? Or do you eat the wrong things? Or stress in the life, whatnot? You would have had to ask yourself. I'm sure you would have had to ask yourself. Okay. In a nutshell, what brought this on, Father? What changes do I need to make? Where is it that I need to look after myself a little bit more? Because obviously you're still doing the same thing because, you're called to that. So I'm sure you would have questions. Is this a factor? If it is, what changes do I need to make to keep doing this? Because
I get it.
I still
'Cause
feel
like
drawn to do this.
In like big work scenarios,
Yes,
there's often
yeah.
a stress factor.
Yeah. So you would have to ask yourself that question. So I'm asking you, did you? And if you did, what answers did you get?
Interesting. Definitely thought through those things. When I look at it, my cholesterol was a little bit high, but not really high.
Yeah.
And there's people I know that are fine who have got much higher cholesterol.
Yeah.
So mine was a little bit high, not much high, not very high. My blood sugar level was a little bit high than it should have been, only a little bit, just out of the normal range, not diabetic or anything. My blood pressure, I noticed my blood pressure was high for a couple of months, a bit high. It has never been high before. And they said, look, and we'll check it again. If this doesn't sort out, then we might look at medication. That's the only conversation we had around it. That was it. I'm non-medications now. Would help me monitor those, help keep those levels right.
Yeah.
I make sure I take good care of myself. I just I'm more kind to myself.
Yeah.
I have to be more kind.
Yeah,
I cannot please everyone. I will let some people down
Good
along
answer.
the way,
Good answer.
and I'll do as much as I can.
Yes.
And that's it.
Good answer.
I can't. I just can't.
Good answer.
I gotta
Because this
tell
job
you,
does. You can't blame the heart attack on the job.
No, you can't.
I'm not doing that. It's not that.
No, it's not.
But I still need to be kind to myself.
Yes.
And
that's the point right there. You do a job that where most people might cause some stress. Yeah, I do a lot in here that people think, how you do that? I don't. I can't tell you. It's just me. I have fun and it's just a byproduct of where I'm supposed to be. So I don't count that as stress. I count that as fun. Yeah. It's a playground. But you still have a body, and you still need to look after it. You know what I mean? You do what you're called to do, but you also have to change certain areas as you get older to make sure you still are at maximum in the role you're called to do. It's not the job. It's not. But you do have a body and you do have to look after it. And that was the whole point of me asking that question. Because some of us think, well, God's called me to do this. I'm superhuman now, blah, blah. Okay. First off, yes, he's called you to do that. But you also have to look after the temple of which you inhabit in order to do this role he's called you. And as you get older, there's certain things you just can't do anymore. I'm not 20 anymore. You're not going to catch me out there doing wind sprints. It's not happening. But you will see me on my walker. You can do that. But I'm not running a mile. I'll walk a mile, but I'm not running anymore. It doesn't work that way. So, Craig brings me a coffee every morning. I know it's coming, so I have my one this morning, a small one, and I know he brings me one, and that's it for me.
Yeah.
You can't have 3 or 4, and plus, because I've had that, there's certain things that you can and cannot do to compound that. I see the doc every 2 years now, so because you're at that age.
Yes.
So, good point.
We were having a conversation off air, and Rod, I don't remember. We sat down to a coffee earlier, and you said, "How you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm blessed, or I'm favoured, I'm flourishing," or whatever I said. And it's like, I'm living my best life. And he goes, "Oh, because you're doing what you love to do, you're getting employed for it, And it's like, you just said it then. You said, I'm in my lane. You said that earlier.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you're in your lane. And I guess when you're in the will of God, and you know that He's called you to do what you're doing, and each of us have a sense of that for our own lives, there's a grace and a favour there. And then it's you got to be kind to yourself thing.
Yeah.
When you said that, I heard these words. I heard, love your neighbour as yourself.
Boom.
And actually, the expectation is you are extravagantly loving your neighbour, which implies that you are extravagantly loving yourself. Being kind to yourself. I actually got to, be demonstrative of that love towards myself in order to maximise the love that I'm given to my neighbour in the lane that I'm in. Yeah.
It's good to talk about all that stuff, and just to have a chat and be a bit intentional about it from time to time.
Yeah, and I think I heard you say, do you like a spiritual life coachy type person in your world or something like that as well?
Kev Sheen, who you would know.
Yeah, he's a hero.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with Kev.
Yeah.
I go to him with everything. He knows all my good and all my bad, and he loves me anyway.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah, he
Love that
supports
guy.
me. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
We talk about everything. We catch up. We have a laugh. We talk about serious things.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Kev is he always cheers me on.
Yeah.
And he actually helps me celebrate my wins. Because sometimes you get
So
a win.
good.
You
Yeah.
get a win.
Yeah.
And then I just move on and do something else.
Yeah, you go for
and
it.
he goes, hang on.
That
You've
was
been working
really
towards
good.
that for a long time.
Yeah.
And you nailed that.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate it. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's right.
So I talk to him about all my work stuff, my personal stuff, my spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
So,
How good's that?
I know that from an athlete. When you hit those playoffs, you win one game, you celebrate it for 30 minutes, and that's it. Then you start looking for the next one because it's another one there. This isn't a week-long thing. And you won today, take time, celebrate, then let's focus. I get that. So, but it's nice to hear you say that because, we hear pastors burn out, and we ask ourselves why. Because, yes, you're called to be a pastor, but you're doing way too much. And you have to actually, like you said, say no to some things. And not feel guilt because I'm a pastor. I have to do that. No, you don't have to do that right now because if you ruin yourself, then that's the old thing. You're no earthly good when you're so spiritually minded. I mean, it's you know what I'm trying to say. I said it the wrong way there, but you know what I mean. You have to know your limits, but not at the detriment of who you are. You're still who you are, but you still have a human body.
it's
And you can only
interesting.
do so much.
It is interesting. When I think about it, in that time before I went in the operation, thinking 50-50, I would have given anything for more time and more time with my loved ones.
Yeah.
That's it. You'd give anything for that. Anything.
Yeah.
I didn't think about, I wish I worked harder. I wish I saved up for a better house. I wish I had a better car. I wish I saved more money. It does not come into the mix at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you'd give anything for more time with your loved ones. And I think from that moment, I think I'm more present in conversations and in relationships. And the stuff that you think was big, it's not big.
It's not.
It's just not. And it just passes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, if you don't get something done, what's going to happen?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really insightful, Rod. I love what you did with it too, in terms of the overlap of what it looks like when people show up for the salvos. Like we are in the homelessness space. We're in the addictions treatment space. We're in the paycheck to paycheck kind of, or got on a benefit and no money at all. We're in that welfare space. We're in spaces where people are experiencing a really tight squeeze, where they're in under the pump. They're in a real pressured scenario, and they're likely very much at their worst. I mean, some of the people that we have the privilege of walking with, whose lives are traumatic and broken, and that's how you describe it. And without capacity to be able to put a roof over the head or even manage the next meal, quite frankly. And in that vulnerable space, I loved how you described it. We got professional people, as in, the Salvos. We're known for loving people no matter what, and that's probably front and centre. But also with skills and capacity around that to get people to a better outcome. A team trained up, ready to go. Like that analogy of the operating theatre. Imagine they say to you, in 15 minutes, we're going to be upstairs and we're going to be operating on you. It was like, oh, wow, there's no time to spare here. We need to be ready and we need to go.
Yes. No. Yes. That's like I said, I'm still reeling from what you said, man. It's not what I expected to hear. So, but I'm first off, glad you're okay. Glad you're here.
Me too.
Amen.
Me too.
Yeah. Glad you're here.
Yep.
Glad you're here. So, question. I mean, typical question, but you're not the ordinary individual Joe Smo walking around outside without God. You do have God with you. You have a purpose. But has anything reshaped, retooled? How do you view what you do? Has there been a change of life? Not the dietary side of things or what we just talked about, taking care of the temple, from a mindset point of view.
Well, I'll be lying to say if there aren't times that I've had a little bit of anxiety, and I think that's normal because what I went through was actually quite traumatic.
It is. And Kevin would tell you that.
Yeah,
Kevin Sheehan would tell
absolutely.
You that.
So if you have like heart palpitations or something, which we all have from time to time, you think, oh, hang on, don't tell me this. Or if you're out in the middle of nowhere, oh, geez, what if something goes wrong here? I'm in trouble here. I just think for me, I have a much more appreciation for what God has given me, and it's not guaranteed day to day. I'm not guaranteed tomorrow at all. So my new perspective, well, it's not new, but it's increased, is to serve others, to love others, and be present.
Beautiful.
And if I can be the best version of me that I can be, whatever God has made me to be, then I'm fulfilling that purpose. I do have I'm way more intentional about each day in the way that I am open to whatever God has for me today.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm open. So if I'm sitting here with you, I don't know where this is going to go today, but it's great to be here. I'm open to what happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's helped me personally, and it's helped me in business as well. I turn up with expectancy that something good could be happening.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Amen.
Just turn up with expectancy.
Yes.
Something
That's right.
good's happening.
Yeah, and I think there's an energy that comes from that. I
So
think
good.
other people, that helps you make progress in different areas, personally and in business.
Yeah, because you could rethink a lot of things after that experience. Well, should I go to that? Is it going to be a tax on my body? Should I do? Should I not? Should I slow down? How long should I stay? Those things will play in your mind, knowing that you had that. And that's where you got to get your mind in focus. So it's interesting when you said, you meet with Kev Kev Sheehan, because I know he's in that space, and that's good for what you do. You want to have that mental focus, not to be concerned about that. You're in the right place at the right time. We took care of you. Okay, let's get on with the second half of life without having to rethink the second half of life. Let's just get on with it, son. Good job. Let's cut to a song and come back so we have some more time to wrap this up.
It is New Expressions. It's Friday morning. We are having a party in the studio as usual. We've got the superstar with the Salvo's Red Shield, the pill, Rod Dibley, with us. Rod, you have been... it's been fascinating this morning, that's for sure, as we've been hearing your story of, as you how many years you've been doing that, role that you have with public relations with the Salvos?
It's coming up to 3 years.
3 years, okay. And the one in the middle you missed out because you were busy having a heart attack and your heart stopped and you were having surgeries and all sorts of things. And in that, we had this beautiful picture of, an emergency team that was trained up and ready to help you. And all sorts of interventions along the way, even getting you to an emergency department. Fascinating stuff. You can see the hand of God all over it.
Amen.
And the parallels that you were drawing, which were, the Salvos, people show up to the Salvation Army for help usually when they're at their worst too, and they're in a great deal of pain, and there's a team of people ready to support and run and help. And I love that image. It was a great picture. I know that you had another story that you were sharing with us off air about. This is perhaps just a flag for listeners who are listening. that this particular story may cause some distress or whatever. And as you're listening, because it's the reality of some of the people's pain stories as they're in desperate situations. And so this particular scenario, Rod, you were telling me involved a suicide of somebody who, is that right? And
yeah.
And
I met a woman, she's probably in her 40s, and I only met her recently, a couple of months ago. And she was just telling me, she knew I worked for the Salvation Army, just sharing her story. And she said when she was 8, it was her and her sister. And the mum and dad at home, life is normal, life is fine, all good, as far as she's aware. And one night the dad committed suicide in the garage. Oh, no. And she woke up.
Yeah.
And she saw her auntie at the door, at her bedroom door, and thought, well, that's unusual, middle of the night, auntie's here. Okay.
Yeah.
And she started getting emotional and teary in her eyes. He said the next person there was a Salvation Army officer was there.
Yeah, right.
Didn't have the answers, didn't fix anything, but was just present and was there in the mess of it all.
Right.
Was just there in the mess. And I think the Salvation Army's work is not glamorous. It's really not. But it's a necessity.
Yeah.
We all have hard times.
Yeah.
And if we don't have good people around us, you need to call them organisations like the Salvos. And the Salvos are ready to be in the mess.
Yeah.
And I think 30 years on, she gets emotional when she talks about the fact the Salvos were there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. For her and her family, that means a lot.
William Booth was the founder of the Salvation Army. He famously, he said a bunch of famous things, but one of those things was Salvation Army is Christianity with its sleeves rolled up.
Amen.
In other words, we're just going to get amongst the mess. It's what you're describing, Rod. It's those traumatic and volatile, sometimes unsafe or dangerous spaces, but desperate spaces, and we're there to try and help.
It's a privilege for us to be there. You can imagine people sharing their most intimate failings or things that have gone not well.
Yeah.
The fact that people trust us with that is an absolute honour.
That is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
To serve, but walk alongside them.
Just part of the Christian church, doing our thing and bringing the love of Christ, into the mix for people. Hopefully, that's the story that people have as an experience of an encounter of love as we serve in those contexts. This is our big weekend. This weekend. This is the weekend in the nation, really, where the Salvos are out everywhere. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 60 years. So it's an Australian tradition. 60 years, people are used to seeing us.
See, when you were saying that, I remember seeing some internal correspondence from our movement.
Yeah.
And just putting that together in my head. Oh, this Red Shield appeal thing is a 60-year thing that we've been doing in our nation. Like I'm 54. I can tell you that within the first year of my life, I would have been in a stroller, being walked up and down the streets with mum and dad, knocking on doors and raising funds for the Salvation Army. Our kids, each one of them, when they were first year of their life in a stroller or whatever. Hey, this particular year, our family's locked in at the McDonald's drive-through at Mingara, right? And so we'll just be holed up there in the drive-through, literally in the drive-through with tap-and-go machines and buckets, and the kids will be amongst it, and we'll be, front and centre collecting again for the Salvos, because it's this particular weekend that's the big thrust, isn't it?
It is. We're doing whatever we can to be where people are going to be. So if you're out and about, if you're at shops, if you're at McDonald's, if you're at Bunnings, sporting grounds, keep an eye out for the Salvos. They'll either be in Salvation Army uniforms or they'll just have a big red shield on them. Obviously make it very clear that they're a volunteer. Please give. When you give, it's going to help local people. It doesn't go to Sydney and come back. It stays right here. Amen. So if you can donate, please do. I know times are tough. We all hear it all the time. And for some people, not to donate this year is appropriate. Completely understand. But for people who can afford, give what you can, because we are seeing people we've never seen before.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot, because you guys have been, 60 years through a lot of tough times. So that's saying a lot. If you guys are saying you're seeing more.
Well, it's everyday people who've got two incomes all of a sudden come unstuck. They've got nothing in reserve.
Yeah. It's an interesting time. I'll give you that. It is an interesting time. And not just here, globally. And, there are other countries that are experiencing the same thing, that are in the middle of all sorts of other things that are happening, from rampant drug use. I mean, fentanyl is crippling the U.S.
Right, yeah.
And
Big
war
man,
in other countries and whatnot. It's just, it's an interesting time in this country because I've often told my wife, this is home for me. Yeah, I can't see myself living in the U.S. again. I can visit, but this is home. But also, this is a very blessed country. It is. It is a very blessed country. It is. And I know a lot of young folks don't realize how truly blessed they are to be in this place here. It's truly is a blessed island. But as of late, everything's going up. People are doing it tough. They're getting hit left, right, and center from everything. Rents are ridiculous. Homes are ridiculous. And there seems to be no relief on in. And we in Christendom, this is the best time for us. We need to be at our best.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to be at our best. That includes in how we treat people.
Yep.
Where we spend our money, where we give. And this weekend's a great, and I know we're in the middle of our appeal. Yes, here we're in the middle of our appeal, but your Red Shield appeal is important because you just said you're seeing more people. And I know more people do visit you. I know people visit you all the time, and you do see people with two incomes and whatnot. And for you to say that now just affirms everything we're seeing. So now it's a good time for us to offer hope. Show people there's an anchor. His name's Jesus.
Yeah, come on.
He will meet your need.
Yeah.
He will exceed your need. And in times like this, people do run to the church.
Yeah,
they do.
Because I've been in the Lakeside Shopping Centre in the entrance this week. Set up a little table there and front and centre in the shopping centre so people can find us and donate as they will. Some people say to me, there's kind of, how do you feel about doing that collecting thing? And I think, I love it. I love being there with a bucket, right? Because I'm in 150 conversations a day. I get to pray for just about everyone. Like literally, it's an opportunity for us to pray for and bless people who are giving. Yeah. But I actually get to see Christians, pre-Christians, anyone who's showing up going, I want to give some money to help someone else. They're demonstrating generosity, right? And some are demonstrating extraordinary generosity with the few pennies that they have, and others who've got a bit of money who are just generously giving as well. Like anywhere in that spectrum, the volume isn't the significant thing, it's the posture of generosity. And I go, this is the kingdom of God, and the kingdom of God, and I can see it at work, even in pre-Christians who actually have within them a capacity or an orientation to want to bless, because that's what you do. When you give money to something to help someone, you're actually releasing blessing, whether you follow Jesus or not, right? And I love participating in that dimension of the kingdom. It's a wonderful thing. So you're going to see all over the Central Coast, I think, sporting fields for sure.
Roadside collections.
Oh,
So on busy roadsides.
Got a bunch of those, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got approvals through all the right authorities and whatever to do this, and we do it very safely. So if you're out and about and you see the salvos on the side of the road, pull over, give what you can.
So here's what's shifted in the last 60 years. 60 years ago, we were probably a bigger organisation on the ground, and we were walking the streets, door knocking, house to house, entire suburbs. We can't do that anymore. Like we literally don't have the volunteer power to do every suburb in every community. We just can't do it anymore. And so we're working smarter. We're in your Bunnings, we're at a shopping centre, we're in the Macca's drive-thrus, we're at places where people are. So we just give you a heads up. We can't get to your door, most of you. Some we will, but many we can't. But when you see us, when you see that red shield, hey, listen, and what else has shifted is we used to give the coins, right? We used to give I got my shrapnel is what the guys at the pub say, right? I got my shrapnel for you, right? Well, that's great. But we're all armed with tap and go machines and FPOS machines now too. So, the avenue to be able to give in that context, this is a reconfiguring of the giving, the donor now in Australian context is like, it's not so much I don't have any shrapnel. That's fine because we've got the capacity.
Can I backtrack to something you said? It's a blessing.
It is, isn't it?
It is a blessing. Okay, it is a blessing.
100%.
You see it all through the Bible, and it also every seed reproduces after its own kind.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to. I'm not gonna go here and people think, oh no, you're preaching that prosperity, you give the gift. No, I'm preaching
that.
I'm preaching kingdom principles.
Yep, yep.
You know, you
Good.
see it, you know, with the 5 loaves and the fishes.
Yep.
Jesus needs something. And you
Yep.
see it with the widows about to have her last meal and her and her son are going to die. You see it there.
Yep.
You know, every seed reproduces after its own kind.
Yeah.
If you're struggling, here's a perfect opportunity to get out this weekend, toss in a bucket to help somebody else who's struggling. So if you want to bring kingdom principles into it, there it is. It's just not a prosperity message. The whole Bible is a prosperity message. So this is just one part of it, okay? So if you want to give this weekend,
No, I love it.
60 years old. I'm 60 this year. Amen. Yeah, I'm turning 60 this year. Big 6-0. So 2 things happened great in 1964. So, yeah, but thank you, Rod. Thank you for sharing
thanks,
your
Rod.
story, dude. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Amen.
And thanks for
Yeah.
your support of the Salvos. You're very kind and keep up
Hey.
the good work that you're doing.
We love what you guys do. We'll always support you. And anytime you got something going on, we want to know about it. We want you in here. We got a great rep here. Rima is great partners with you. We just love what you guys do. And, you know, we just champion ministries out there. That's what we do.
Thank you,
So,
Eben, and thank you for everyone who supports the Salvos.
Amen. See you next week, folks.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of New Expressions, which can be heard live every Friday morning at 10 a.m. on 94.9 Rima Central Coast.